Hey, what's up, guys? Dylan Johnson from Soccermag here, and welcome back to another episode. It's been a bit of a break, obviously, with all the international games, FA Cup, etc. I think by the time Man United play, it will have been nearly a month since the Premier League, or since they last played in the Premier League. But yeah, today we're going to be doing a brief video going through just the matchups for this weekend. Wolves, I think we've all seen there's definitely been an improvement, the results they're getting. They don't look like the worst side in Premier League history anymore. I don't think it'll be an easy game for West Ham. Obviously, also, they played in the FA Cup. Wolves have kind of just been resting the whole time. Maybe they'll be more refreshed, but we'll see. Obviously, West Ham got knocked out on penalties in the FA Cup, and that is disappointing for them. But yeah, I reckon at home, they should beat Wolves. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, but I reckon West Ham should take this. I reckon if they do, it'll be massive in the relegation battle. Spurs will be under serious pressure. I think by the time they play, they will have dropped. They will then be in the relegation zone, and West Ham will be out, tied on points, I think, with Leeds. Then we have, I'm just going to say 2-1 West Ham. Move on. Arsenal versus Bournemouth, the next game. Also a huge game for Arsenal. Obviously, there's been some cracks showing. Obviously they beat Sporting last night, but before that, losing to Man City, losing to Southampton, both very poor performances for similar reasons, in that attacking-wise, not really showing much, and then also defensively conceding when we've kind of become accustomed to this Arsenal defense being almost impenetrable. But yeah, just a serious lack of threat in front of goal without set pieces. Maybe you could say Saka's injured, or, some players are out, some players are missing. Odegaard just come back trying to find form. But I think it's kind of what we've said throughout the season, that obviously set pieces are a great weapon, but what else can Arsenal do without them? That is a question that's going to have to be answered again. I think they did kind of answer it. Going to Sporting Lisbon's one of the toughest, probably European fixtures you can get. The crowd is insane, and they always play well at home. I think they've gotten great results there. Obviously, smacking up Man City, there's an example. I think this is a tough game for Arsenal. Bournemouth, personally, I hated when Liverpool play against Bournemouth. They're such a tough team. They're high energy, manager's really good. Tactically, they're really good. Offensively, they will hurt you if you give them a chance, home or away. But I do think at the Emirates, the win in the Champions League will give Arsenal some confidence. I do think they'll take this, but if they don't, it is starting to get, I'm not going to say seriously worrying. It's 9 points with 7 games to go. But it's just, giving Man City that you don't need to give them. Without getting onto Man City, I don't think they're capable of winning their next 8 games. But if Arsenal drop points this weekend, you're just giving them fuel for no reason. I do think Arsenal will take it, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any means. A big scoreline would help the confidence massively. I think if they absolutely destroy Bournemouth, then I don't think there's any stopping them. But if they slip up, it's going to be very interesting to see what the run-in's like. Then we have Brentford versus Everton, and this is actually quite a crazy game, because if either of them win, they could go above Liverpool, depending on what Liverpool score against Fulham, which is crazy. I think they're both 7th and 8th, but the gap in points from 5th until I think 13th or 14th is 10 points. They're right now, 3 points behind. That area of the table is so congested. If you win, you could drop 3 places. If you lose, you could drop 3 places. If you win, you can go up. So, it's an interesting one. I think this is going to be a great game. Everton are obviously very difficult to beat. They've shown it multiple times this season. They're also good away from home, I think. And Brentford, also good team, very good team. They play well. They're also difficult to beat. They can score goals. I'm going to go for a draw, just because I can't really split the two teams, and I don't want either of them to win for obvious reasons. But I'm going to go for a draw. Then we have Burnley versus Brighton, and obviously Brighton beat Liverpool in the last Premier League match, and that was incredibly disappointing from my perspective, but I thought Brighton played really well. I thought James Milner played really well. Obviously, that guy Wells played really well. I thought Brighton overall completely dominated that match, and Burnley, I don't think they have much of a fight. It depends. I feel like I've said multiple times, Brighton are one of those teams where on the day they can dominate, but this season, you know that they could draw this game. Like, this is a kind of game where they could drop points. They haven't been consistent. But you would expect them to beat Burnley. So I'm going to go for a Brighton win. Then we have Liverpool versus Fulham, and regardless of what happens this evening, I'm not confident really for this game. I know it's at Anfield, but if we're honest, Anfield is not what it used to be. Liverpool just in their past couple games, past month or so, just absolutely terrible. Like, in pretty much every facet. Like, going forward, players anonymous going forward, missing huge chances. The work rate just seems poor. And everyone's talking about the distance run, like the distance covered. But it's not about the distance covered, obviously. It's just about the intensity. Just, you can see it, like people just letting players run free, no tracking back, very little energy or like fight. Just concede a goal and it's game over. You can tell it's game over. Like, how often have we seen Liverpool come back from behind to win a game in the past 3 or 4 months? Can't remember it. No one's making any tackles. Mamudashvili now steps in for Alisson, and everyone's going at him now because Liverpool don't keep clean sheets when he plays. But who would keep clean sheets in front of the absolute like donkeys in front of him at the moment? Just the amount of work he has to do, and then the defenders. It just all seems a bit like cowardly. People shifting the blame. No one's taking responsibility. Someone lets their man go. The other guy's too panicked to even respond. It's just very disappointing. The midfield's getting, I think everyone can see it's getting completely dominated. Going forward, chances similar, like Liverpool are shooting. Liverpool are getting possession in the final third of other teams, but with no end product whatsoever. Like, there is no clinical finishing. It's just terrible. What are things going to happen against PSG? I think Liverpool, realistically, I don't really care what happens. Liverpool have nothing to lose. Everyone's expecting them to get hammered, and whether they do or whether they don't, I don't think it'll really have an impact on the Fulham game. I think that's just how the Liverpool season's been. Previous performances don't really have anything to do with their next match. They're not really building any form of momentum. At least they're not taking positives from one game and putting them in the next one. It kind of feels like every game is a standalone. How do we address this game? And whatever happens on the day just happens, regardless of whether you've been on a 10-game winning streak. So I kind of foresee a draw. I know it's at Anfield, but I just don't think Liverpool have the mental strength at this point in time to beat Fulham, who are a tough team. Whenever Liverpool play them, it's a real struggle. In the past 2 or 3 years, I think if you watch the games back, it's really been difficult for Liverpool. So I'm going to go for a draw. Obviously, I would love them to win. I don't think Liverpool can really slip up anymore. But now that Arsenal beat Sporting, it's the top 5 of the Champions League, which is huge. But we'll see what happens. Then on Sunday, we have Palace versus Newcastle, and this is obviously an exciting game. I think it's kind of getting to the point of the season now where I know I said it's quite congested, but with the forms of the other teams, I think a late Conference League push from either is not really likely. They would need to go on a really good run, and I think teams like Everton and Brentford, even Sunderland, Brighton, Fulham would have to drop off quite drastically from what they've been showing for them to kind of get a gap. Anything's possible. Newcastle's away form hasn't been good this whole season. Palace just haven't been good, pretty much barring the first 2 months of the season. So it's quite an interesting one. I'm just going to go for a draw, safe, easy bet. Nothing really to split the teams here. I would say Newcastle obviously better on paper. I wouldn't necessarily say it's more positive, but I think, I'm going to go for a draw. Then we have Forest versus Villa, and this is also a huge game for Forest, who are also still well and truly in the relegation battle. A win here would be massive. I think if we check the table, they would go 5 points clear of Spurs before Spurs play Sunderland, and potentially 6 clear of West Ham in the relegation zone. So if they win this game, that would be huge. Realistically, though, can they beat Villa? We'll see. It'll be tough. I do have to back Villa, though. I think they're obviously the better team. They've been more consistent. But Forest have their backs against the wall. It's kind of getting to that point now where it's now or never. Can they do something? I'm not sure. Villa are a good team, so I'm going to back Villa. Then the last three are pretty good games of the weekend. We have Sunderland versus Spurs, and obviously this is huge for Spurs. Do I think they'll win it? I'm not so sure. De Zerbi's first game in charge. Interesting appointment. Would anyone ever really think that if you're in a relegation battle, you'd want Roberto De Zerbi? I'm not so sure. If you're pushing for European places and you want a great aesthetic style of football, that's kind of the person you'd go for. Is there long-term vision that he's going to stay with them in the championship next season if they get relegated? I don't know. Do they expect to survive and just play out the last couple of games, sneak it, and then build for next season? Maybe. But if they lose this game, they are in serious danger, and West Ham win, they will be in the relegation zone. And Sunderland away from home is one of the toughest games in the Premier League this season. They've given me no reason to back them, really. So I am going to go with Sunderland, but it's an interesting one. Spurs have to win this game. 6 games left of the season in the relegation zone. It's not looking good at all. So they have to win this game, but I do think Sunderland will take it. Then we have Chelsea versus Manchester City, and this is huge for the title race and obviously Champions League battle. Chelsea are 1 point off the fifth place, and now that is a Champions League spot, which we kind of expected, they need something here, because if Liverpool win, then it's 4 points, and then it becomes a bit more out of reach. Their form hasn't been great. City cannot drop points in this game. If they want to win the title, they cannot be potentially 12 points off with 6 games to go. That is pretty much impossible. I don't see... Arsenal have lost, 5 games this entire season, all competitions. They're not going to be losing 3 of their last 6. So Man City have to win this game. Chelsea also desperately need to win this game. It's going to play out well. I think it's going to be an exciting one. I don't think... Chelsea definitely have the tools to hurt Man City, but they're also seriously vulnerable at the back. I think they've shown over the past couple weeks, excluding the international break, that they can concede goals. They can play well going forward. They have attackers, but defensively, that is their weakness. Man City, we've seen this so many times though, where it seems like they're hitting a good run of form and they drop points. I do expect them to beat Chelsea though. I need them to beat Chelsea regardless of the title race. Chelsea need to drop out of this Champions League conversation. So I'm backing Man City. Then final game of the weekend, we have Manchester United versus Leeds, and it feels like it's been forever since Man United played, and it also feels like they play every Monday. Every time they play, it's a Monday, I should rather say. But against Leeds at Old Trafford, there's no real reason for me to doubt them. I know Leeds obviously are, again, every team in the Premier League is a tough opponent, but this is a massive game for them. This is like a derby. And I can see Leeds going there, obviously high confidence being in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Not necessarily mathematically safe from relegation, but in a position where they're not in the relegation zone, they're not fighting as deeply. They definitely are in and around the conversation. But the danger isn't as immediate. It could be if they don't get a result here, but going into this game, it's not as immediate as it has been in the past, or it's not, their position isn't as dire as Spurs or West Ham or Forest. But United, I think everyone's comfortable they're finishing third this season. With the performances they've shown, they should beat Leeds. So I'm going to back I'm going to back Man United to beat Leeds. But yeah, thanks guys. That has been this week's episode for the preview of Match Week 32. Yeah, Match Week 32. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if I'm stupid. Let me know what you think. Can Man City do it? Will Liverpool end in the Champions League places? And will Spurs get relegated? Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.